reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats, and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend. These games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. And by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 239. I'm Chris and I'm joined by the full cadre of MMO Reporters tonight. I've got to my virtual left the pantless wonder, Mr. Leonor himself. Hello, Leonor.
I would like you to know that I am now known as Pantless Darth Leonor.
Is that like part of the Darth Jar Jar theory?
No.
Oh.
Actually, that sounds right to me.
No.
Okay, so
I worked hard on that.
You're the pants that Darth Jar Jar wears?
No.
Oh.
Or are the pants Darth Jar Jar?
And of course, my compatriot sitting across from me here at the virtual table, Mr. at MMO Bill. Hi, Bill.
Good day. This is a problem. Like, I think I need to figure this out. Like, is it the pants?
Go introduce someone else. Go.
And to my virtual right, fresh from BlizzCon, Mr. Harry Hall. Hi, Harry.
Why is this virtual table made of glass? I mean, Leonor, please.
I know, right? You'd think you'd figure we'd think these things through after 239 episodes, but no.
And you could have gotten any old virtual table. It has to be a glass one.
You picked it.
You know, after
that's true.
239 episodes, we should have a virtual table runner to solve this problem.
We should.
We can get a doily.
I want to go for
Where's
it. Yeah.
Steve? God damn it, Steve.
Steve should be crocheting right now.
The MMO Reporter tea cozies?
Yeah.
Last time I heard of Steve, he was base jumping Niagara Falls, but I don't know what happened to him.
That's a good place for him.
Anyways, we have got a ton of news, so we are going to get back on track here, gentlemen. I cannot allow you to continue this frivolous discussion that we are having. We must talk MMO news. But before that, let's talk about what we've been doing in game. Leonor, why don't you start?
I haven't been doing any MMOs that much. The biggest MMO thing that I did was the live stream that we did for Extra Life, where I did 24 hours.
Yay!
And oh boy, we had a good amount of people just like randomly coming in. I got to play with a lot of people in Neverwinter. I got to play with people for Trove. I didn't even know Trove was very streamed on Twitch, but apparently there were, because people came in, they gave me a horse, they ran me, power leveled me through dungeons,
Nice.
and it was awesome. So that was pretty much the big MMO thing that I did. Other than that, a couple days ago I just logged into Lotro and didn't really do too much, just started working on the new crafting tiers that are there. And then, just for the fun of it, I threw in Orcs Must Die 2, because that game is awesome.
Orcs Must Die is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a lot of fun. I think, Bill, you and I have streamed that a couple times, haven't we? Like
Yep,
a long time ago.
Yeah, and I like Orcs Must Die 2 much better than Unchained still.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, 1 was very good, 2 was not even so much better, just, well, they changed it enough to make it really interesting and compelling, right, and a good follow-up to 1, and then I don't know about 3. 3 just, it felt it
3
too busy.
is Unchained. There was no 3, was there?
Well, 3 Unchained, you know what
yeah.
I mean.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just to me it feels too busy. We need to get back to just building walls and shooting orcs.
Yeah, although it does give me a really good vibe, and I really enjoyed it, and I think I was the only person that did, which is why it never ended up launching. But I loved the beta of the Warhammer Online PvP element that they were trying to redo there as just a PvP game. And I really like that, and I enjoyed that. And Orcs Must Die Unchained gives me that same vibe. So, anyways. All right, Leonor, that was you. Let's move on to Bill. Bill, I'm gonna guess. Wait, I'm a psychic here. I'm not looking at the show notes. I'm gonna say that you played some Guild Wars 2.
No, why would you say that?
Because what are we gonna do tonight, brain?
Okay. Play more Guild Wars 2. Yeah, I'm still. I love this expansion. It's so good. It's just I don't even know where to start. I can't run out of things to do. I've accomplished something. Like today, I actually doubled back and I was working on mastery points in the old world, and I finally finished an achievement in the Silver Waste that I'd been sitting on for ages, and got a couple mastery points for it. And I had my little happy dance and had a great time. And then I looked at, okay, so what do I do next? And there's like 14 things on my to-do list. So this is a successful expansion. I'm calling it now, if Guild Wars 2 is not our MMO Reporter Game of the Year, there's going to be a serious investigation into your guys' sanity. So anyway. Yeah, so just be ready for that. I also
Is this the time where we should have all of us discuss it? Because I know Harry's played it, I've played it. I don't think Leonor's played it, but we have.
I know for a fact Leonor's played it.
Oh, you have played the Heart of Thorns, Leonor?
Heart of Thorns?
Yes.
No.
Okay. There you go.
I want it.
Okay, I think let's take a few seconds here. Harry's on the show.
Yes.
We've all played it. We need to have a little bit of a discussion about it because I don't necessarily agree with you. And I know I've mentioned this before, but I find the content, all of Maguma, is too group heavy. I don't necessarily love the mastery system, though I don't hate it. And I love the Revenant, but I don't find the content in Maguma. I'm not in love with that. I find that just the times that I can play, I find it hard to find a group to get through all that content. And the fact that it's all event-based, which you need groups for, is severely limiting my ability to play any of that content. Not some of that content, any of that content.
I find that I don't understand that, because I've had no problem whatsoever. I enjoyed it a lot. I love the mastery system. There's room for improvement. I agree, but it's basically the future of MMO progression, and I'm happy with it. I found that the first, I think, 1.5 to 2 hours of the expansion are kind of frustrating because you don't have any of your new travel skills yet, and then Maguma is really a bitch to get through. And especially since most of the mobs are able to kill you, especially the little the tiny dinosaur swarms. They are terrible.
A pocket raptor.
But after clever girl. But after you've actually gained flying and then the mushroom jumping, and then all of a sudden it isn't a problem anymore, and you just have to get over the hump. So my question to you, Chris, is how long did you play? Did you get past that point?
I'm working on the story point to unlock the lore, to unlock that part of it. There's a part where you have to unlock a mastery to get progress the story a couple different times. So I've unlocked my flying. I've a couple of tiers of flying. I've unlocked my bouncy mushrooms, and then I'm working on another one. So
you should be past the point where it's annoying.
But it's not the traveling around that's the problem. It's the fact that all of the content in Maguma is based on events, which is fine. That's a design decision. Great. And I'm happy that you guys are enjoying it. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that I the way that it's designed limits my ability to play, and that makes it less fun for me.
I'll give you a hint here, Chris, that's going to fix your life because you're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
The secret is because I actually had the same issue until I found the secret to life, the universe, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the LFG tool. If you're logging in at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and the maps are starting to seem dead and that kind of thing, if you open up the LFG tool and look for groups that are advertising taxis for any of the Maguma events, you will instantly be dumped into a very populated zone with very busy groups and very busy events. And that will solve everything for you.
What we're saying, but you're kind of agreeing with my point in that all of the content is group based. There's really nothing. If I just want to bomb around and do stuff on my own, even just working the story, I have to be with a group.
No, that's not true.
Well, no, I have to
disagree with that too.
I can't unlock my next mastery without doing a bunch of events because I was loving the story, having tons of fun going through the story. Look at our Instagram, by the way, because I've got a great shot of the guy who plays guitar. Which I love. That point, I sat there for a while. But
the frog, he bugged out on me.
Yeah, love that part. But
I hated that part because it bugged.
Oh, really? That's too bad. I hated that. I wanted to continue the story. Oh, wait, no, stop. Go do a bunch of events, unlock a mastery. Then you can come back and do the stuff you were enjoying.
Actually, I think it's first of all, I just didn't have that problem at all. Second, have you even discovered the adventures that you can do to get?
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, I've done a few of the adventures. Some of them are fun.
Yeah, they are. And besides, it sounds to me, and this comes dangerously close to telling you you're playing it wrong, but it sounds to me that you are looking at the goal rather than at the game. You are trying to get to certain points rather than enjoying the game that's right in front of you. And that's a fault of the mastery system because it becomes kind of this speed bump in the story. I agree with you, and it becomes this goal to work towards. But all it actually is giving you a reason to be in the dynamic environment. And if you don't enjoy Guild Wars 2, and I think you just don't like the game enough, Chris, I think you are just a Guild Wars 2 hater, then there's no saving you.
Okay, and here's the thing, and that's what I think part of it comes down to. It's not that I think any of it is bad. Not in any ways. I think this is probably one of the smoothest expansion launches that I've ever been a part of. There are some bugs, but I think that most everything is working well. They've fixed what wasn't working well really, really quickly. They're doing a great job. This is a great expansion. Not really enjoying it. That doesn't change the quality of the expansion.
But I know why you don't like it, because what they're doing now in Guild Wars 2 is the same thing that WildStar did, but better. Because they give you all of the things that WildStar did, exploration, being a builder, doing all the stuff that WildStar advertises without locking you into a single path, and with the addition of being an actual good MMO. So I understand why you're a little bit sour grapes about this, because Guild Wars 2 basically just takes WildStar, slaps it in the face, and just throws it in the mud.
I love how you took my very reasoned and well thought out and very equal and not hate-filled message of it's just not for me into, hey, Chris, your game sucks. This game is awesome. You're a moron. Thank you very much for that, Harry. I feel loved. I know that you don't do that for everyone. So I feel that this special kind of love that you sent my way that pierced through my heart is very special.
Yeah, Guild trip. Schmuans. Come on.
All right, so there you go. There's our Guild Wars 2 discussion. Moving on, Bill, your next game.
Next game, I found the secret to buying my son's love, and that is actually to fire up Transformers: Fall of Cybertron and let him drive around as Optimus Prime for a minute or two. that just sent him over the moon, and he loved that. So he's just getting into the rescue bots phase of everything. So he knows Optimus Prime. He recognized Optimus Prime's voice because it's obviously the same. Well, not obviously, but it is the same voice actor across every Transformers property, which makes me so happy. And so that was exciting. And you guys heard that story, right? That was circulating around the internet about the guy that didn't buy Fallout 4. That's actually me.
Yeah,
that was me. So I'm not. I am that guy. I logged on to. I fired up Steam a couple nights ago, and literally my entire playlist. Everybody who was online, it was just Fallout 4, Fallout 4, Fallout 4, Fallout 4. Nobody else was playing anything but Fallout 4. Nobody else.
You might have made a correct decision there.
To not buy Fallout 4. Well, that's what I've heard from the MMO Reporter.
Yeah. No, I have a message from Carrie. Fallout 4 is fantastic, and we're all morons for not loving it. Well, I'm paraphrasing a little bit there because I don't think
I'm sorry, but
That's quite a paraphrase.
People who do that, I mean, just because you don't like a certain game doesn't mean that's not a free ticket to trash all over them. I mean, come on.
People have feelings, don't you know?
Yeah, come on.
A whole feeling. Like
it's just not for me.
Well, between the three of us, there's like 3 feelings. And Leonor's probably got a feeling too. So, anyway, no, I am keen to play Fallout 4, but I'm trying to be mature about this because even if I bought it right now, I just know I'm not going to play it. Yeah, because I'll have to get my Guild Wars 2 fix and then have to wait for my veins to settle down after that, and by that time I'm not going to see it. I might hop onto it if there's a Christmas sale or something like that because I've got a week off over Christmas, so. We'll see then, but no, I have not played Fallout 4. I am that guy. How about you, Harry? I bet you played Fallout 4.
I did, and I was actually kind of disappointed by the fact that it's not that well designed at the beginning. I mean, I'm not talking about the early beginning because there's this story sequence at the start, which is quite awesome. But once you get in the open world. I think the third quest I got, following just the breadcrumbs of the story, sent me to a factory where my mission was to kill all the raiders. Right. And I was like level 3, and there were like 30 or 40 raiders just swarming me, and there were feral ghouls, and it just wasn't fun. It was a slog to get through, and it was frustrating.
Yeah.
And I've finished this particular quest. Actually, very annoyed in a state of agitation because it was just I wasn't having fun. I don't mind being careful or planning or using all my skills or figuring stuff out, but just walking somewhere and then getting swamped, then walking somewhere, then just getting turrets firing. It just was a job and not a game. And I'm really hoping that this was the exception and that after this everything is going to be smooth sailing. But Chris, you seem to agree with me. Did you have the same problem with the same quest?
And here's another thing, and I was worried that you would love Fallout 4 because we were going to have the same discussion about Guild Wars 2. I'm playing this game because I think it's an important game to play because I think it's going to be part of the gaming lexicon for the next few years, and I want to experience that. I wouldn't have. I don't know if I wasn't doing all the podcasts and stuff if I would have played it because it's okay. I find some parts of it. First of all, it feels like Fallout 3.75. If New Vegas is 3.5, it doesn't feel like an incremental upgrade. It feels like Call of Duty 2015. They just slap the new skin on it and away you go.
Okay, wait. First, the new Call of Duty is freaking awesome, but but. I had the same thing. When they announced the game and they showed the trailers, it looked like a much more vibrant, dynamic world. Right. What I'm looking at now is expletive. This is just Oblivion with guns again, which was one of the things I didn't like about Fallout 3. It's another Bethesda game,
Yeah.
without anything else to spice it up.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get through the story because I think the story, I don't know. So far, it's okay. I find the building aspects of it are very under tutorialized, for lack of a better term, and it's clunky as hell. I'm not hating it. I'm just not. I find that when I go to play it, it's like, okay, I need to get through Fallout 4. Let's jump in here. Not like, oh crap, I've got to play Fallout 4, but I don't have an urging to go and play it.
But you're playing it on PC?
No, Xbox One.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So.
And that's fine, by the way.
Mm-hmm. And I did
One
stream it to my PC. My wife was on the main TV, which is where the Xbox One is. And so I came downstairs, hooked up my controller, and away I went. Graphics were a little clunky, but not horrible. Just a little like watching a Twitch stream.
Yeah, some artifacting.
Yeah, and everything's hardwired, so it's probably the best system I could have, right? So anyways. All right, what else, Harry, what else have you been playing?
Well, since I went to BlizzCon, I just had to play a couple of Blizzard games. I've already reported on my disastrous StarCraft 2 mission that I played on the show floor over there. But I tried to play StarCraft at home, and I've come to the conclusion that not only do I suck at StarCraft, I don't like StarCraft. So I shelved that. I did discover I like Heroes of the Storm.
Isn't it fun?
It's a lot of fun. It's my first MOBA. I never really got into it, except for 15 minutes of League of Legends, after which I had to go into therapy. But other than that, this is my first actual MOBA experience, and I'm loving it.
We should make some plans to play together, because it's the only MOBA I've really ever loved and enjoyed, and I'm really enjoying it. So.
Same here. And I've also played Hearthstone since the expansion came out, the League of Explorers, which has an amazing song in the trailer again.
Oh, awesome.
I had an interview with the developer of Hearthstone, the lead game designer, and I asked him about the musical things, because all those trailers so far have had a little song, which is over the top funny, and it's basically just a quirk of one of the guys in the cinematic teams. And this dev told me that it's just one of those things they like to do without having to. It's just something they find funny.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that. And the great thing is, I've played Hearthstone on an iPad Pro.
Oh, you dirty bastard!
And the iPad Pro is obviously not meant for consumer use. I'm testing it out for a magazine I write for. It's an amazing device, but it's absolutely meant for people who are artists, or with this whole stylus thing. It is a workhorse,
right?
But playing Hearthstone on it is the only way to play it, because you basically have an end table that is touch responsive, and you can just play a card game on it, and it's amazing. And it looks gorgeous. The game scales very well.
It does. That's what I was worried, because sometimes some things don't scale very. Like, you get some iPhone apps that you get on the iPad don't look all that great, but I'm happy that it looks good.
Well, since it is obviously designed for iPad, for a Retina display, it's not like it's going to go all pixely when it goes up a notch, and it just looks great. If you like Hearthstone, buy an iPad Pro.
All right, what else?
You know what to ask Santa. Okay, and there's this whole slew of games that I play. We're in the middle of review season, so I'm kind of swamped with cool games to play, which is a curse and a first world problem and all that. So I just dipped my toe into Star Wars Battlefront, and I must say the beta was better.
Because that's too bad.
Well, it's not that it's a bad game, and all the fun that I had in the beta is in the game itself. But somehow I miss a campaign. I miss, because this engine they use is amazing, and the multiplayer is a lot of fun. But I just miss some meaty story, even if it's only 4 hours. Call of Duty
Right.
length. Just something to get me more invested in what I'm doing, because at the end, the single player stuff they have in there are just bot matches, and that's just.
Yeah.
Rise of the Tomb Raider. Best reason to have an Xbox One in your house is Rise of the Tomb Raider at this moment, because I love the Tomb Raider reboot, and this is even better.
Nice.
Play Divinity Original Sin, the console version. Divinity Original Sin, a Belgium created computer RPG, old school, fantastic game, highly recommended. And if you have a console and not a PC, this is a perfect time to jump in. But the PC version controls just a little bit better. So take from that what you will. That's what I've been playing. So Chris, how about you?
Awesome. Still have been playing some Sword Coast Legends over the last few weeks. Just finalizing my video, just trying to arrange a session with a few members of the team to get some dungeon crawling in there. Story was fun. There was a couple of groany moments as I played through that story, but overall it was pretty good. Fallout 4 we already talked about, Guild Wars 2 we talked about, and I've jumped back into Rift. Like head first into Rift, leveling my warrior, not even my main level character. Just got a really good spec for my warrior, jump back in. I tried going in and the new Plain Touch Highlands, and tried to jump in there because I was under the incorrect, by the way, impression that it had content for all levels, and it doesn't. I kind of got punched in the face a bunch and died, and so I went and started leveling my warrior rather than just running into the new zone. So
Can I ask you?
It's still a lot of fun. It's very much that old school style MMO, that WoW made so popular of cooldown timers and lots and lots of abilities. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's a lot of fun.
If I may ask, is this the selling point of Rift was the Rift system?
The soul
Is that
system, right?
Well,
And the rifts and the zone events and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think mostly the rifts.
I'm talking about the zone events.
Okay.
Is that still a viable thing now, or are you just basically playing the questing game now?
No, I did a rift as I was just out and about doing stuff, right?
A Rift.
Just because that's just the other night. I've done a few. I haven't been on during a zone event, or I've ignored the zone event, but I saw people running around doing the zone event. You also have to realize that I'm also several levels behind, like about 7 levels behind the curve right now. So I'm not where everybody else is. I think I'll be able to give a much better impression of whether or not that's still a viable thing to do in game once I get to Plain Touched Highlands. That's where everybody is, and then I'll see those zone events if I see other people playing the zone events or whether they're just playing the questing game. But I definitely had it as part of my questing experience as I went through the game.
It's still it still shows the fatal flaw in Rift that it didn't go far enough with its dynamic events, and where Guild Wars 2 just took it a little step further.
Yeah.
You just what you're describing is what my worst fears, and one of the reasons I wouldn't get into Rift now, because I have to go through all the old content before I get to a higher level, and that means that I probably am going through a lot of dead zones.
Right. But I find that too when I go back to WildStar and I'm playing low level characters. When I go back to Guild Wars 2 and I'm playing some of my low level characters, I don't see anywhere near as many people.
No.
No.
What is the game? Are you still playing on a single server? Did you forget to update to the mega server system? I don't get it. I'm going through. I went through the old world in Guild Wars 2 to get my old masteries. I went to level 20, 30, 40 zones. I'm leveling an alt through a level 60 zone, which would be the deadest place to be because it's just near the end of the cap, and I'm just full on doing events with groups. What are you doing wrong, Chris? Does your character have BO? I don't know. What's happening?
Well, not my character.
That's specific.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. but I am going to move things along.
Yes.
That's what we have been playing in game. We want to give a quick shout out and thank you to our 31 patrons. You are my favorite people in the whole wide world. Thank you very much. We hope that you continue following along and that you enjoy the patron rewards that we have for you. If any of you want to become patrons of the network and support what we do here at MMO Reporter, go check out patreon.com/MMO Reporter. And my computer just crashed. No, there we go.
Remix.
That was glorious.
Just pew pew and think you'll last the fight and anger me. Wipe the group and never clear the rain. More than deeds is all you.
That was damn high.
Well, you are from the Netherlands.
Well, that's true. That makes no sense whatsoever.
I get it.
Anyway, the Netherlands. Yes, I know. We're in the Low Countries. I know.
That's not what the joke was. It has nothing to do or everything to do with your proximity to Amsterdam.
I don't know where. I don't know what you
really
pay
high,
the.
don't you know?
I don't know what you pay the girls for, but I don't pay them to squeeze my balls. Okay, let's just be clear about that. Okay, maybe we should get into clean territory and talk about virtual reality for a moment. Shall we?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Go.
Okay.
Clean and virtual reality. That's just
Move it along, folks. Move it along.
Bill, what have you heard? I've heard
innocent.
rumors of. Actually, it is at this moment in time. What I like to talk about is CCP, who has just raised 30 million for its virtual reality initiatives, and the company is positioning itself as the leader in virtual reality immersive technology. They are the creators of EVE Online, if you didn't know that. And also, and this is where the VR link comes in, EVE Valkyrie. And EVE Valkyrie is one of the most amazing VR games I've played so far. So they're not just doing that. CCP is probably just kind of giddy with the success of Valkyrie and is actually investing in more of these types of experiences. And one of them is Gunjack, which is a on-rails shooter type. It almost looks like a Galaga clone in VR, which is kind of fun. I don't know how much depth this would have.
Well, I don't know how deep it can be because it's as far as I can tell, it's a Gear VR exclusive, which means it's going to be basically running on Samsung Android phones. And yeah, so I mean, that kind of explains why it's an on rails type shooter, but that seems so niche. And to look at how the game plays, like there's a little bit of footage out there and that kind of thing, it really just does look like, hey, we need something on the Gear VR. Okay, give me a week.
Well, the challenge accepted, sir.
A little harsh, huh?
Well, 2 weeks maybe.
But the Gear VR is a very weird proposition. It's coming in just before the explosion of actual VR, and it sits in the middle between a real VR like the Oculus and Cardboard from Google. And I don't see anybody going, oh goody, I got a Gear VR for Christmas. I mean, who says that?
Yeah. Well,
It's not something you want to have.
Have you had a chance to play with it yet, Harry?
Yes, I have, and I've played with all manner of VR headsets, including an Oculus Rift and the Gear VR, and I have several of these glorified cardboard things like the Homido VR headset, in which you insert your smartphone, just like the Gear VR, and have a VR experience as well, and it's all gimmicky.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy. I was asking because I didn't enjoy my experience with the Gear VR at PAX this past year. I didn't find it exceptional.
I've played there was this gaming convention in the Netherlands all around indie games.
Mhm.
And there was a team of Dutch designers who had created a Gear VR game, which used an actual bow and arrow, with a bow and arrow that was obviously adapted. So it's kind of like a Wii game where you use an actual bow and arrow, and you have the Gear VR on your head, and then you're looking around in a virtual space, and you can fire arrows at targets. And even though the technology was pretty impressive, I cannot think of a single situation where it's easier to get that set up than an actual bow and arrow and a target.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it's an unattainable fantasy to shoot a bow and arrow.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I don't know. That seems silly.
It's like using the Gear VR to simulate a very realistic, but just not quite realistic enough simulation of your own living room. In your own living room.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the fact that you're actually shooting a bow and arrow, it's your target.
Well, the target was just one of those targets, like a bullseye.
Yeah, but that can easily be changed into some sort of monster or something.
I agree. Why didn't they do that? That would have made the experience a whole lot more interesting.
All right. So, anything?
Oh, sorry. We're talking about CCP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think that this I guess it's venture capitalists raised money is going to have a huge injection of more VR content from CCP, or do you think we're going to get just better Valkyrie and Gunjack?
I'm hoping they are investing this in new gameplay ideas, and I do think Valkyrie could be one of the more important IPs for the company in the near future. Especially, they are very early. They were one of the first companies to have an actual shiny-looking product that made you want to have a VR experience. Anything I've seen, everything else I've seen so far, and I've done extensive testing of dozens and dozens of VR experiences when I had one of the Oculus Rifts at home to borrow. It's all tech demos, except Valkyrie. That's an actual damn game. It really works.
Yeah.
And you played it. I've played it. Did you guys, Bill and Elena, have you played Valkyrie at all?
Not yet. No.
Nope, not yet.
So this game is coming to the PlayStation 4 and obviously the PC. In the PlayStation 4, it will support the Morpheus, the PlayStation VR set, and they are coming in on the ground floor with something that is as good as most AAA games that don't use a VR system. So I think it's a good bet.
Yeah.
They can't live on EVE Online forever.
And now that the World of Darkness stuff is gone, not that was going anywhere.
See, I kind of think this funding is actually coming in to make sure that Valkyrie makes it and launches with a big splash. I think that's where this money's coming from. I can't imagine that the New Enterprise Associates, which is the I think the big part of where that $30 million is coming from, cares a lot about Gunjack and Gear VR, because that just it's interesting, but it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in me right now. But $30 million to make sure Valkyrie makes it, and if they're hanging on to the notion that that's going to be one of the first big successes in the VR age, maybe that's worth a $30 million investment. I think that's probably what they're banking on.
And probably a large chunk of that could be earmarked for marketing for when Valkyrie launches, both with match dollars from PlayStation to push the Morpheus tech as that comes out. That's going to be a huge push that you see, and this has the potential because it is a really fantastic game to bring that space sim right into your living room in VR through the PlayStation 4. That's going to be a huge marketing push. Huge.
It's a system seller.
Yeah, absolutely.
Valkyrie is a game that, if you weren't convinced yet, will convince you to buy a PlayStation VR set.
Yes, 100%.
I have to stop saying Morpheus because it's not called that anymore.
Oh, what's it called now?
It's now called PlayStation VR.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
No,
All right.
I'm serious. They
But
changed.
it's a ho-hum name. That was my comment. It's like, oh yeah, great, yeah, PlayStation VR. Way to be original there, folks.
Well, but hey, let's be. I think it's a brilliant move. I'll tell you why. Morpheus, you have to explain. PlayStation, and you were talking about a new technology that most people still associate with Lawnmower Man from the 90s.
Yeah.
So if you're actually
Great
calling
game
it,
on PlayStation in VR.
you have now I understand why you didn't like Guild Wars 2, because if you like that game, but if you call something just what it is, then you don't have to explain it. So it's brilliant.
There you go. All right, we got to move on. Lenore, Black Desert. I have been hearing a crap ton of buzz about this game. What the heck is all that about?
Yeah, Black Desert has been anticipated for quite a while, since the beginning of geez, I want to say at the end of like 2 years ago. This thing has been showing its head all over, and a lot of Asian gamers have been loving. I don't even know where to begin on this thing.
Start with the beginning.
First of all, let's start
I'm
with
just
the
gonna
obvious.
go right
It's
down
stunning.
the line. Yes,
It is absolutely stunning visually.
This is a Korean MMO that is finally branching out and is coming over to the West, and it's going to be released in early 2016. And they have 3 packages already that you can pre-order it. It's going to be $30, $50, and $100 packages. Each one has all different things, like you can jump into the game 24 hours early, or 48 hours early, or 96 hours early. Some of them have different horses and stuff like that. But the game itself is absolutely gorgeous. It reminds me a lot of gameplay-wise and graphic-wise. It reminds me of a lot of Guild Wars 2, but jacked up. Like really, really jacked up and looking absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful game.
There was something that you put here. It says uses an in-house rendering engine.
Mm-hmm. So
I couldn't find anything on that. What is that?
Yeah, it's called Black Desert. They're in-house, like they built the engine themselves. They didn't license it out, which a lot of other games will do.
Okay.
And the idea is that it has a super fast rendering time with very little loading screens, and not the amount of pull on system resources that you think such a fast-paced, very pretty game would have.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I wanted to bring this up real quick because this is kind of weird, and I'm going to throw this over to Harry. The game is free to play in Korea, Japan, and Russia. And they decided to change the game up when it came over to the West. I think the questing system's a little bit different. The in-game store is going to be a little bit different. And what they did was, of course, make the game from free-to-play to buy-to-play. And people are thinking, this is when I was researching today, people are thinking and saying that because free-to-play isn't very well received or just kind of talked down usually, that they're going to go buy-to-play and then revert down to free-to-play later on. Do you think that this game might be seeing a trend that's going on in the West here?
Well, first, buy-to-play is the new hotness because it worked so well for a couple of games. I mean, it's also a great way to recoup some of their investments just up front. I mean, if they're just launching it free to play and there's no incentive to spend any money at the beginning of your playtime, they take a bigger risk. And a lot of free-to-play games are not doing that well, especially if they are Asian, which is always kind of just off of Western tastes. Mm-hmm. So I can understand that if they have, let's say that they sell 50,000 copies of the game at $30 a pop, they have a sizable chunk of the investment back right there, even before people go to the cash shop. So I think it makes sense to try to get some money up front rather than wait until it trickles down to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to say, I'm very fascinated by the combat, although I'm starting to find myself getting a little tired of this push for action combat in MMOs, action combat, which takes away a little bit of the building of rotations as you're playing when you've only got a few skills and you're using them fast and it's all about
Right.
reacting to what's going on. There was a whole genre of games like that. And now that seems to be permeating through almost every aspect of every MMO. And I don't know if I like that.
You prefer the rotation system where you go 1, 5, 2, 1, 2, 5, 2, 6.
I don't like that it's all getting to be like an action game. I do like a little bit of slower paced combat, and that's why I think I'm really enjoying jumping into Rift. I really enjoy that.
It's interesting. I mean, it's like turn-based was always kind of a solution for computers not being fast enough or capable enough to do actual combat. And now that we have computers that can do actual combat, some people just prefer the thoughtfulness of it. I can see that.
I can't tell whether you're being facetious or whether you're being honest.
I'm honest. There is some. I was playing Divinity: Original Sin, which is a very thorough, old school turn-based combat game.
Yeah.
I enjoy that a whole lot more than the action-based combat from Fallout 4, which is. I like if a game is tough and has a lot of enemies, and I have to consider positioning or whatever. I like some time to think about my next move, and that's why I like a turn-based game. It gives me more. It's more like reading a good book rather than going to an action movie.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's just different things. It's nice. It's nice to have a selection, and I can understand where you're coming from, Chris, to worry that there's too much of a trend towards pushing everything towards action, and that we might get a dearth of kind of those thoughtful, strategic types of games. But I mean, for every Shadow of Mordor that you want to play, there's also I don't know, XCOM or something like that, where you want to sometimes you want to get the adrenaline rush. Sometimes you want to just be thoughtful and planny and that kind of thing. So
right.
New XCOM coming.
I know, right?
Oh.
All right, we got to keep moving here. I moved things around here, so everybody else on the show isn't expecting this, but I just thought it was a good spot to bring this up. Leonor saw that John Smedley was sending out a series of tweets this afternoon, and I thought it'd be a good chance for us to talk about this following this discussion about the buy-to-play model for Black Desert and our quick discussion there. And I'm just showing that now to our chat room, and basically talking about the new game that John Smedley's working on, and confirming a whole bunch of stuff that usually is laid out through very carefully designed marketing plans. First of all, this new secret game that he's working on is going to be 100% buy to play, 0 microtransactions, and it's going to cost $20. And then he goes on to talk about how tired he is of the conversation around free to play. He wants it to be about the game, not about the money, the microtransactions. So he's just not going to argue about monetization. It's buy to play. That's it. So it's very, very interesting. Are we starting to see, like we discussed, are we starting to see a big backlash against free to play?
I think so. I think free to play had its moment, and everybody knew, like everybody who'd been used to games, like paying for games and actually going through free to play transitions, and that everybody knew where the pinch points were in free to play and where it was going to hurt, and how much it kind of removes you from the immersion of the game when you have to wander around if every single corner you go around is suddenly going to throw up a paywall for something. It was inevitable, and I think people finally are starting to get annoyed by it and are getting back to the notion of, oh, if I could just drop X amount of dollars and get everything, that's great. We're seeing that a lot. I think we're seeing that with Kickstarter pledging. I think we're seeing that with obviously what Smedley's saying here. I think that's going to be... Personally, I'm hoping it's not the trend even though deep down in my heart I know it actually is just going to be the trend, and then somebody else is going to come up with a new way to do free to play that's not annoying for a while, and we'll get back to it there. But no, I've always been of the mind that I would rather just plunk down a chunk of money at the start and feel like I have that game now, rather than starting in on it for free and wondering when my wallet's going to need to drop.
I hate to burst your guys' bubbles but the fact that they're moving to buy to play just means we'll get the annoyance of free to play, but you have to pay for the privilege to be able to play. And there are only a few games that look at console games at the moment, and Star Wars Battlefront, for example, or other games that they're infusing their buy to play titles with microtransactions. And the fact that Smedley is here is going to sell a game at $20 without microtransactions, that's going to be the exception. Because even Guild Wars, there's only one free-to-play game that comes to mind that isn't annoying. That's Hearthstone.
Right.
That's just zero annoyance in that game. You can play it for free without any feeling of being forced to go for your wallet. Even Guild Wars 2, which is a great game in its buy-to-play form, has an item store that at a certain point you just need some more backspace.
Yeah.
And you have to pay for it. And it's not terrible. I mean, it's a mouthful, but we're not going to see a death of free to play. We're going to buy it for the privilege to have the same game and the same microtransaction in the same store that we had before. But now there's an entrance fee.
And I think that's where the vacillation is going to come from, is that there's going to be a bit of a pushback now to maybe try to get games cleaner. And I think the trend, if you're going to call it that, is some consumer pushback saying, oh, I'm so sick and tired of seeing a store left, right, and center. I'm sick and tired of not knowing what I actually own. So there's going to be a little bit of a pushback to the trend of fewer things being for sale in the game. I think you're probably right. You are going to see microtransactions here, there, and everywhere for silly hats and that kind of thing. But I think the trend is going to be good, and then eventually it'll bounce back, and we're going to see it. It's going to be a back and forth. The pessimist in me says that. The optimist says that microtransactions are going away forever, and EA is going to start putting everything on Steam.
Right. One last remark on this topic. You know what they've done with buy to play? They've made you buy your subscription up front. Because how many MMOs last for more? If you are honest to yourself, you're starting a new MMO. After how many months do you stop playing? Usually,
about 3
to 4 months, I think, is what most people get out of an MMO. If you go for $15 per month and you buy a box, rather than that, you go for $50 for $50 for a box. That's terrible to say for a Dutch person. Then you tongue twister. Then you've paid your subscription up front, haven't you?
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the expansion comes out. You know what?
That said, the way it used to be is you would buy the game for $60 and then you'd plunk down $15 a month for those months. So really, by the third month, you would have dropped $100.
That's true. We've come a little way in the right direction.
All right, I am going to move things along here.
We have
talk
to
real quickly about our sponsors. Audible. Go to audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter to check out all the best audiobooks on the web. They are absolutely fantastic. So go check them out. And thanks to everyone who has for the past few months. And of course, our good friends over at Doghouse Systems, who did win the informal Bill and Chris Build a System Challenge before Crowfall Reporter last week, where Doghouse did come in with the most reasonable high-end system that you could build. So go to doghousesystems.com, use the coupon code MMO Reporter, and you're going to add a 120 gig SSD to whatever you buy. So go and check that out. Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die. Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die. Fall is not for AFK. All right, there's some news coming out from Daybreak Games. DCUO is announcing episode 19 for all you DCUO players. And I know we had Josh on the show last week. He has been a diehard DCUO fan since I knew him since it launched, really, when he was an editor over at PC Gamer. So this new episode will be allowing players to team up for 4-player alerts where you can team up with Black Canary to attack Ra's al Ghul's fortress, or if you are a villain, you will team up with Heatwave to save Captain Cold. So that's kind of cool. Some new solo dungeons as well, and it's launching later this fall. Kind of interesting to see that they're still coming out with regular content for DCO, which you don't hear about all that much. But it's actually not a bad game.
The only place I ever hear about DCUO was here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And actually, I keep forgetting that the game exists. Sometimes I'm scrolling through my PlayStation 4 games list. Hey, DCUO.
But here's the thing. It is far from a bad game. In many ways.
That's faint praise if I ever heard it. It's far from a bad game. That's not incentive enough to actually... I mean, if you have the choice between 10 great, amazing games and something that's far from a good game, far from a bad game.
Here's the thing. There are superhero games that are bad games. This is a superhero game that is a good game. There
are 3 superhero games.
3?
Go ahead.
There's one that I've forgotten about. There's the other one that's called DCUO, and you have the one with the heroes.
The other one, yeah.
Champions.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
Champions, is that still running?
I don't believe so.
Then it's 4.
Yeah. Anyway,
we had Marvel Heroes in there too.
Oh.
You know what is so different? Marvel Heroes. It is such a different beast. It is so much closer to Diablo 3 than it is to any sort of MMO as we'd think about it.
Yeah, anyway. I suppose. Anyways.
Champions Online is still running.
What's that?
Champions Online is still running.
Is it? I don't think so.
What about the Matrix?
Matrix Online is dead. Long dead.
Actually, it says here that the game is still... There is still a website. You can still play it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that closing.
Speaking of games we barely know exist.
Wow.
This is actually... You're the first. This game that's still running.
It's like it's been re-released.
Yeah. I gotta play this again because I hated it.
Game of the year.
Yeah, better than Guild Wars 2. Come on.
Oh, yeah,
all right.
That's true.
All right, let's move things along. Bill,
right.
I hear you have some legal woes coming to some botters.
Speaking of heroes, the company that makes Heroes of the Storm is starting to get litigious. Blizzard has come up with the idea that because it worked so well against gold sellers in its games, it's decided to sue the people that make bot software for World of Warcraft. So Blizzard's going after the story was a bit confusing because it looks like Blizzard is trying to go after the makers of bot software Honor Buddy, Demon Buddy, and Storm Buddy, which apparently is software that allows you to run automated bots in World of Warcraft. And they're suing them on copyright grounds.
I don't get that.
I mean, I want to qualify everything here that I'm saying with the fact that anybody who bots, I would love to hear that every single one of them is getting sued just so they can have the annoyance of having to get their own lawyer, deal with the courts and everything like that. I wish
they could automate that.
I wish write a script for the lawyer.
Yeah, use if this then that, and then you just if sued, then respond. It's easy.
If in chair, Your Honor, I'd like a 15-minute recess and just do that 1,000 times a day.
I guess this is one way to do it, but I agree with Harry. Anyway, it doesn't make sense.
It's exactly. I love the pain is landing on these people, or this kind of pain. I don't wish them actual pain because that would be just mean. But this doesn't make sense as a copyright issue. It's definitely a terms of service issue. there's probably some kind of laws around like inhibiting commerce or something like that. That it maybe fits under a copyright. I mean, to me, that says that they're basically taking World of Warcraft, taking some kind of IP from World of Warcraft, and trying to sell it as their own thing. And if you look at the ads that are posted in the article here and that kind of thing, they specifically say that the game is World of Warcraft and it's made by Blizzard. We're doing a thing that's beside that. So no, I don't get the copyright lawsuit, but just the same, I hope they have no fun in court at all.
That makes about as much sense as Geek and Sundry sending a DMCA request against us, by the way, for showing the World of Warcraft movie trailer.
That's right. I remember
the last
that
show. No, that was the last show. Yeah. Great.
Mm-hmm. You got a
Thanks for the DMCA request.
Geek and Sundry did that?
Yep. Yeah. See, doesn't make sense, just like this story. All right, moving things along, right along. Hey, guys, did you hear? Mark Hamill's in the new Wing Commander game.
Are there any one-liners from Wing Commander?
I don't know. I don't know if there was that much of a script to get one-liners.
He was in those, though.
Shoot the Kilrathi! Shoot the Kilrathi!
That's real catchy.
Yeah,
it's actually. The only thing I do remember is a scene where I think it was Wing Commander. What's the I think it's the fourth one, where Mark Hamill is brought back into service, and that John Rhys Davies says, no, it's actually Malcolm McDowell who says to Mark Hamill, "I see the pastoral life agrees with you," and Mark Hamill pats his own stomach. And that's the most memorable bit I have in that and the moment that he actually kissed a porn star. What was her name? Ginger something. She was trying to be a reputable actress, and that's why she played in Wing Commander.
Right.
With Mark Hamill. I mean, that's an interesting cast choice.
If you want to get all your Luke visions out of your brain, just watch him. We've got the video of him also in the mocap suit for all of this stuff, because it's all digital.
Nobody looks good in the mocap suit.
No, nobody does, and neither does Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill was amazing. I'm just catching up on The Flash, by the way, so this is old news for everybody else.
Yeah.
But I'm watching it on Netflix, and he was amazing as the trickster there. He's a good actor. He's a way better actor than people give him credit for.
Yeah. So anyways, yes, he's going to play Lieutenant Commander Steve Old Man Colton.
Oh, he's not even going to reprise his role.
Voice. Well, it's a different universe, right? They probably don't own the rights to Wing Commander, like the.
Sure, he can't be Blair because of that.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill is getting typecast as an old guy. It had to happen.
Okay, moving on.
Speaking of signs that you're getting old, so if you're getting tired, if you're finding that you need some more dinosaurs. Speaking of changing the subject, if you need more dinosaurs than what Jurassic Park is offering or what Ark is offering, Nexon is coming up with a new mobile MMO called Durango, it looks like a dinosaur hunting game, sandbox MMO open world thing that you play on a mobile device. So
good.
It looks good. It's very attractive. The game itself, it's actually kind of hard to tell because they the trailers and the media that's out for this game intersperse so much CG in with just a little tiny bit of gameplay footage. It was tough to get through. So to me, this was Strike 1. It's made by Nexon. Strike 2, it's dinosaur bandwagon jumping. Strike 3, it's a mobile MMO RPG, because those always work out so well. This is sliding off my radar really fast. Although the trailer is great because it totally looks like Lara Croft and Nathan Drake are hunting dinosaurs together.
Well, that's reason enough to try it.
There you go.
Yep, looks interesting.
Yep.
But I don't think. Yeah, I've fallen away from mobile MMOs. All right, some lore for all you Crowfall lovers out there. They've got the story of Hero, the first crow. Again, original name, but hey, call it what it is, right, Harry? Just call it what it is.
Just tell me what's in it.
Everybody knows what he is.
Yeah. So you can go check that out. We'll have a link there if you're interested in Crowfall stuff, and you can also check out Crowfall Reporter. And Bill, you also looked a little bit at Camelot Unchained. They've got a new class announcement, right?
Yeah, well, they've been going through their class reveals. The community has been voting which of the what is it? It's anonymous paint art that they put in the class section, and the community's been voting which ones they'd actually like details on. So this week they revealed all of the support classes, and it is harking back to Dark Age of Camelot days where support classes were musicians. So the minstrel is almost directly ripped from Dark Age of Camelot, which is the Arthurian side. The Skald is like the Norse Midgardian thing, and that's ripped straight from Dark Age of Camelot. And then rather than having a Tuatha de Danann, which is ripped from the Hibernian faction in Dark Age of Camelot, instead of having just a plain old bard, they added a Dark Fool. And I dare anyone to think of any kind of RPG that has had a class named Dark Fool.
That's true.
So
very, very true.
Points for originality. Anyway, pretty cool. If you're interested in seeing what classes are going in, it looks like they've got some really neat archetypes in there. They've got shapeshifters. They've got the different scout classes, which look really cool. Archers and mages and all that kind of thing. Anyway, the classes are definitely not cookie cutter. There's quite a bit of originality there. So check out the link that we've got in the show notes, and keep an eye on Camelot Unchained. Camelot Unchained and Crowfall feel like they're going to be really competing for the same space, and it kind of seems like the timing of it is that they're going to land pretty close to each other too. So that could be really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Especially for you, who has a very deep love for Dark Age Camelot and by proxy Camelot Unchained.
Well, I'm going to want to play both, and then somehow I'm still going to have time for Guild Wars 2. So
Guild Wars what? Sorry?
I'm going to have to quit my job. It's the only real option that I've got.
All right, we do have to get going here. Bill, contact info if people want to get a hold of us.
Contact info in hyperspeed mode. You can visit our website. Dang it, hyperspeed just doesn't work. My hyperspeed drive is down. Somebody reconfigure the dilithium matrix.
Ping.
Website, MMOreporter.com. Send us an email, mmo.reporter@gmail.com. You can visit us facebook.com/MMO Reporter. You can tweet at any of us at MMO_Reporter for Chris, at Harry Hall for Harry Hall, at Leonor for Leonor, and at MMO Bill for yours truly. Give us a call, 616-666-6778. Leave us a voicemail. We would love to hear your opinion on any of the stories that we hear, and I mean any of the stories. Anyone, send us voicemail. We'd love to hear it. Visit us on YouTube, youtube.com/MMO Reporter Network. Visit us on Patreon, patreon.com/MMO Reporter if you'd like to help us keep the lights on here. Or if you're not into the Patreon model, head over to MMOreporter.com/support for some different MMO Reporter helping options.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Bill, for another fantastic show.
Thank you.
Harry, as always, a pleasure to have you here.
It was great to be here once again.
And Leonor, thanks for keeping your pants on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and thanks to everyone for coming out and hanging out with us here as we recorded. We really appreciate that. We hope that you enjoyed listening to the show or watching it on YouTube. We hope that you watch next week's show or listen to it as well. But most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOReporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.